In the space of an hour or two, we could see out the windows, and the kids walked out to ask me a question on something, and they're like, "Mom, we can't see out the windows."
Yeah, completely soaked.
And it's
all water,
just like,
just complete water. Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah. Hi, welcome to Platt365. I'm Bob.
And I'm Lisa.
And we would just like to walk you through some of the things we've been learning over the last 10 months. We have a whole series of videos of fun adventures we've been on over the whole country on our RV trip, but now we're doing some educational videos. If you're new to RVs, even if you've had a lot of experience, this is what we're going to go through, some things we've learned. Today's subject is condensation. We are in the Pacific Northwest, and there's a lot of rain up here.
There's a little bit of moisture.
A little bit of moisture. So we've had to figure out how to get rid of it out of our RV. So that's what we're going to talk about today. We saw this condensation and we opened up the windows so to get some airflow going, but then as it got colder, that became less of a viable solution.
And don't forget your booties, because it's cold out there today.
As well as the fact that we're paying for the electricity now that we're on we're here for a month.
Yes.
So we were like, what do we do? We started doing some research, and the first thing we were wondering is where is this coming from?
And so we couldn't open the windows just because it was raining outside. So then we started going down the science road of, okay, how do we solve this?
Right.
What exactly is it?
A quick breakdown of condensation is water is in three separate elements.
Forms.
Thank you, forms.
There's liquid, gas, or solid, and gas.
Right, so liquid is obviously water, solid is ice, and then the gas is like vapor or steam. So apparently through everything there's moisture or humidity, if you will, and warm air has more moisture than cold air. So the cold air is outside, the warm air is inside, and where they meet is the window. And at the window, that warm air that has moisture in it is where it has more moisture, meets the cold air, and then that condensates, so the particles are further apart, and it condenses or condensates and gets closer together, which turns it into a liquid. Fascinating. So that's how you get condensation. I know some of you are like, duh, but I was interested in how that happens. So that was condensation. Now how do we get rid of it? More importantly, why is it here? Why was it not in my house? What I began to realize is condensation is actually a really good thing. It means that you have a sealed envelope, a sealed package. So these things are built in factories, wrapped in plastic, and there's not a lot of airflow through them, which is great because your heat stays inside, keeps your RV warm. It's actually a good thing that you have condensation. It means that your heat's not going outside. The bad thing is we started to notice mold, right away.
Yeah.
It wasn't long.
We started having issues within a day or two.
Down in the windowsills, there was this mold stuff, and the girls had these quilts that their grandma made were on their bed, on the wall, and behind it was moldy, and under their beds was mold, and we're talking less than a week.
Yeah.
And we were good, and we were just frantically cleaning.
Yeah, so we're pulling everything down, we're bleaching everything that we can, we're pulling stuff up and taking care of it and clearing it out. How do we keep this from happening? How do we manage this? How do we maintain this? Because there's moisture in the climate that we're in.
And another thing is we're living in this space, we're cooking meals, and apparently I found some interesting information. When you cook 3 meals a day, which we do, it adds 4 to 5 pints of water into the air. Now, granted, we turn on the vent, or
we did the range vent.
The range vent, we turn that on.
Yeah.
Also showers. Each shower is a half a pint of water in the air. So, and apparently I'm the only one that opens the vent in the bathroom because it gets too cold. So who knows what that actual number is? Half a pint, 2 pints, and then there's 5 of us, so you just do the math. Well, you
also don't know when they say every shower adds this much. You don't know how long they're assuming the shower is. You don't know how hot their water is.
I know how hot.
Well, I like hot water.
Yeah.
Call me crazy.
Hot water. So that puts steam, and obviously so that's where the water's coming from. It's a good thing because the whole thing's sealed, but then we're left with what do we do? How do we get rid of it? One last thing with the difference between a house and an RV. By the way, our background is architecture. So we've drawn houses. We know how to detail houses, especially Lisa. She's really good at that. And so putting down a foundation in a house, concrete or raised foundation, there's always a vapor barrier. You may have heard that. It's kind of like a plastic that keeps the moisture come through the concrete slab and into your house and creating, vapor. And moisture and mold, most importantly. So
it's the vapor barriers are very important. They serve multiple functions. One, it preserves the integrity of the structure of your building, and two, it preserves the health environment of your building. So it's keeping if you have a concrete slab, it's keeping your concrete slab from absorbing too much water. Because if concrete absorbs water and continues to absorb water over time, it will allow water to seep up into the wood, the framing of your house, and that will become rotten. That will produce mold, and that creates an unhealthy environment. There's moisture that's produced from showers, from breathing, from cooking, etc. In a sticks and bricks house, there is a lot of ventilation. It's usually in the attic.
Right.
And
so the way a typical roof works, right, is you've got your ridge up here, and then you've got your eaves down below. Yeah. And there's calculations we would have to do to calculate how much ventilation is in the attic. So there's a ridge vent, and then there's the eave vents, and that gets the vapor, if you will, or the moisture out of your house.
That's what prevents. So that's the difference. In
comparison to an RV, obviously no ridge vent, no eave vents, no roof, no pitch. It's just boom, And so all that vapor from cooking, from living, from showering, all that, anytime water's used, it's going to create vapor. It has nowhere to go. So it just kind of goes into your windows because it finds the coldest. And we actually had some condensation on the walls in the bunkhouse because that was a cold surface. All that being said, that's where it comes from. That's the difference between the house and the RV. We did not anticipate this. We didn't buy anything. So now we're on the fly trying to figure this out, doing research. The first thing we purchased was
a couple people said, I just bought the little tiny dehumidifiers, the little petite dehumidifiers, and they said, for a larger rig like we have, you just get 2 of them, throw one of them at each end of the rig, and they're super quiet. You can run them 24 hours a day. Takes care of the problem.
What we found is they weren't pulling enough air through them, and the reservoir is only tiny, so it's not pulling a lot of water out of the air. So they really didn't work.
They didn't make that much of a difference. If you're in a drier climate, if you're down in the Southwest or something, and you're coming up against some condensation just from living in the rig, those would probably be great and would eliminate any problems that you have. But
that didn't work for us. So the next thing we did is we got damp rid.
Then a bunch of people had recommended getting damp rid, which is a chemical that absorbs water out of the air.
And we got 4 of those, I think.
We got 2 of the little flat window packs that you put by the windows, and then 2 of the buckets. And
I don't think those worked at all.
They haven't made a noticeable difference at all. I put them in the bathrooms thinking that those are the most wet locations, so that would be a good thing. And they've collected
nothing.
0 water.
Yeah, it's weird. So the next thing we purchased, because the biggest problem we had is right about the time that we had all this moisture, the kids got sick. They had coughs, they had lung stuff going on, and we're oh great, there's mold, there's water, this is not good. So we attacked this thing aggressively. And Lisa did some research and found a product that you put under the mattresses. Because the mattresses, in the middle of the mattress, I don't know, about that big, right in the middle?
Yeah, right in the middle.
It was like water. It
was there was, so I had to pull the covers off the mattresses that had a little bit of mold growing on it.
It was nasty.
Thankfully, they're from mattressesinsider.com. Cool.
We're not sponsored by them, by the way.
We're not at all. But one of the nice things about their mattress, especially since I caught that so early, on the first or second day, I could zip off the, they're fully covered mattresses. So I could zip that off, throw them in the washing machine, dry them, clean them, get rid of it. And it was not through to the foam or
Right.
anything, so that was fine. But I discovered that they have a product that is an airflow that is a underlayment that you put underneath the mattress. That's basically like a super spiky, spiraled all together tight mesh that goes under the mattress that
keeps an airflow.
keeps an airflow to move under there to prevent anything from growing.
Yeah.
So we bought those.
And we've had that for weeks now, and it's worked
we've had
great.
that for
a
while.
But we didn't stop there. But wait, there's more.
We ordered that, but while we were waiting for it to come.
Right, because we were still having condensation, and so I went to Home Depot and bought kind of a miniature version of it. I mean, it's still a good size. What did we decide the liters were? I can't remember.
It's basically a 6 3/4 pint reservoir. Yeah. So it's just under 7 pint reservoir, and it will, the capacity is a 24 pint capacity
out of the air or something.
Out of the air in 24 hours.
So what it's not by any means the biggest one, but it wasn't the smallest one either. It was kind of in the mid-range. It cost a couple $100. It wasn't cheap, but we had to start emptying that thing every day. And if it's raining outside, we empty it twice a day. And I'm talking a lot of water coming out of this thing.
Yeah.
And that took care of it. That solved the problem. So it was worth every penny. Whatever it was. I'll look it up. I'll put a link below. We got it through Home Depot.
$250 or something like that.
But I mean, the kids getting sick, the mold on the mattresses, all that stuff. It was like, we don't want to mess with that. So
we pulled that. We got that unit, plugged it in, and within 2-3 days, kids
totally
are great.
Fine.
Everybody's fine.
Yeah,
Everybody's back healthy.
Yeah.
No condensation issues. Nothing on the walls. Changing the sheets. I'm checking the mattresses every single time because I'm neurotic about that now.
Yeah.
And haven't had any issues. I'm sorry. Did you make a face about me?
No. So that's what we did to solve the problem. We have a 40-foot bunkhouse. So that's what we had to do. We're with 5 people. So everybody's going to have a little bit different situation, but if you have a 40-foot with 5 people, I recommend and you're going to be in an area that's colder. Now, we come from New York, so to us, this is really nice out right now. It's like, it's 40s or 50s, but it's winter time. It's almost Christmas, and, back in New York, there's like 2 feet of snow on the ground. So
there's more coming down today, apparently.
So I wouldn't call this winter camping. I mean, we're in the winter and we're camping, I guess, but it's not super cold, but it does rain here in the Pacific Northwest a little bit, and so that's condensation. My next question was, how do I know when this is going to happen? There's 2 different types of factors. There's outside factors, which are dew point, relative humidity, and temperature, and there's that's a simplification, but essentially when the dew point meets the temperature, it's raining outside. That's kind of an oversimplification. But that's when you're going to actually have more of an issue, because your dew point's really high. The inside factors are almost, off the charts. You've got ventilation, you've got how much are you cooking, how many number of people are actually living and breathing, how many showers are being taken.
What temperature you're keeping your rig at. It's quite different if you keep it a little bit cooler at, 66 or 68 or 62 at night, or if you're keeping it in the 70s.
Right.
That's
also
quite different.
How well is your rig insulated? How well is it wrapped? How much plastic is wrapped around this thing to keep the moisture out or in, or however you want to look at it. So there's too many, you don't know. All you have to do is kind of look outside and be like, all right, here it comes. It's raining. We're going to have a lot of condensation in here. We keep our dehumidifier on 100% of the time.
Yes.
It just goes on nonstop. It's quiet enough, and we had a little light on it. Lisa put like a piece of duct tape over it because it's
really bright.
we keep it in the bunkhouse because that's where we had the most problems. But it basically grabs air from everywhere. and we empty it once a day, twice a day if it's raining.
So it's just knowing your rig, knowing your habits, knowing how you're living, and then being able to take appropriate measures.
Yeah, I mean, if you really want to avoid the whole thing, just go down to Arizona, you know? Don't worry about it. But we really like this area. We love the Pacific Northwest. It's gorgeous. It's green. There's tons to do and see. We found out about this stuff, and we had no idea, even though we have the architecture background. We were like, what's happening to the rig? It's, you know, we had it for 10 months. We never had this happen. And all of a sudden there's water everywhere. So, it's just...
It was pretty interesting because the condensation, I was surprised at how quickly it showed up. And it was literally in the space of an hour or two, we could see out the windows, and the kids walked out to ask me a question on something, and they're like, Mom, we can't see out the windows.
Yeah, completely soaked.
And it's
all water.
Just like,
just complete water. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So anyways, again, we're Platt365. I'm Bob.
Lisa.
And don't forget to subscribe.
Hit the bell.
And catch us on our next adventure.